Three people are suing Chipotle, saying the restaurant chain lied about their calorie count. The complaint specifically cites a chorizo burrito, but in reality, the burrito is at least 700 calories. The new chorizo burrito was supposed to help Chipotle recover after the 2015 E. coli crisis. It claims the chicken and pork wrap is about 300 calories. It even pushed it as a healthy item.
Chipotle built its empire on a promise: food with integrity. It's printed on their walls. It's all over their website. They've built their entire brand on the idea that their ingredients are ethically sourced, clean, sustainable, and better for you than what you'd find at typical fast food chains. And for years, people bought into that promise, literally and figuratively. But here's the hard truth. Behind the grill lines and guac is a meat operation that's far more complicated, far more industrial, and far less transparent than Chipotle wants you to believe. From how it's raised, processed, and flavored, to what it really takes to keep up with demand across 3,000-plus locations, there are things Chipotle won't put on the menu. Because the moment you dig into their meat supply chain, the cracks start to show. So before you take another bite of that barbacoa or carnitas, here's what smart customers already know, and what Chipotle doesn't want to talk about. 1. Responsibly raised is a moving target. One of Chipotle's biggest marketing phrases is responsibly raised. It sounds great, like every cow, chicken, and pig is frolicking on open pastures, getting belly rubs and organic grain. But responsibly raised isn't a legal or certified term. It's something Chipotle made up. They define it loosely as animals raised without non-therapeutic antibiotics or added hormones. But that leaves a lot of room for interpretation. In practice, it means some animals are raised more humanely than others, and sometimes Chipotle relaxes its own standards when supply runs low. They've admitted it themselves. In the past, Chipotle has sourced beef from suppliers that didn't fully meet their animal welfare protocols, because there just wasn't enough meat available at the volume they needed. In other words, when demand spikes, the standards drop. 2. They've quietly used meat from outside the U.S. You probably think your burrito is made with domestic meat. But at several points in the past decade, Chipotle has turned to imported beef from Australia and even other regions when their approved suppliers couldn't keep up. While this isn't illegal, and the meat can still be technically antibiotic-free, it contradicts the image of local, sustainable sourcing. In fact, many of those cattle were raised in feedlots, not open fields, not exactly the pasture-raised utopia the ads suggest. Even their pork supply has come under fire. In 2015, they suspended one of their largest U.S. suppliers for violating animal welfare protocols. But instead of slowing down pork sales, they simply sourced from other countries. It's global meat dressed in a domestic story. 3. Naturally flavored doesn't mean natural. Chipotle's meat tastes great, smoky, spicy, savory. But that flavor doesn't just come from a wood-fired grill and fresh herbs. A lot of it comes from lab-developed marinades, high-sodium spice blends, and vague, natural flavorings. Take the barbacoa. It's cooked with a spice mix that includes natural smoke flavor, a manufactured additive that mimics wood-fire taste but is made through chemical condensation. The same goes for the chicken and steak. They're pre-marinated in large batches, often off-site, using industrial techniques and pre-blended seasonings to guarantee consistency. It's fast casual food engineered to feel authentic, not truly cooked from scratch at each location. 4. Centralized meat processing means mass production. The romantic image of your burrito being assembled with freshly grilled meat by a smiling crew? Partly true. But what you don't see is that much of Chipotle's meat is pre-cooked, marinated, and portioned off-site in massive industrial kitchens known as central kitchens. These facilities handle tons of meat daily, preparing it to be reheated and finished in-store. The steak is sous vide before it even hits the grill. The carnitas are braised in vats, shredded, frozen, or chilled, and then shipped to stores for final prep. It's not freshly grilled so much as it is refinished. This method ensures uniformity across thousands of stores, but it also exposes the meat to multiple handling stages, cross-contamination risk, and reliance on preservatives like citric acid and sodium ascorbate to maintain shelf life and appearance. 5. It's not as clean as they claim. Chipotle once famously declared they were going GMO-free, but that only applied to some ingredients, primarily their tortillas, corn, and cooking oil. Their meat? That's a gray area. While Chipotle says their animals aren't given GMO feed, many of their animal products, especially cheese and sour cream, still come from cows fed GMO grains. And when it comes to meat marinades and additives, the company still uses natural flavors, a legally vague term that can include dozens of synthetic chemicals derived from GMO sources. And let's not forget sodium. Their steak and chicken both contain over 300 milligrams of sodium per 3-ounce serving, and the barbacoa clocks in even higher. That adds up fast, especially when you're combining it with salty rice, beans, cheese, and chips. 6th Worker reports, tell a different story. Chipotle markets itself as a company that cares, not just about animals, but people. Yet numerous reports and lawsuits over the years have revealed problems behind the scenes, especially in their meat prep and kitchen operations. Former employees have described undercooked meat served to customers to save time, poor food safety enforcement during busy shifts, pressure to keep the line moving over following proper cooking temps, reusing or mixing old meat with fresh batches to reduce waste. In 2020, Chipotle agreed to pay $25 million to settle criminal charges related to foodborne illness outbreaks that sickened more than 1,000 people. Those outbreaks were traced in part to mishandled meat and poor sanitation practices. Even if things have improved, it's a warning sign. The system behind the burrito is a lot more fragile than the brand suggests. 7. Supply chain transparency is still limited. For all their talk of transparency, Chipotle has been selective about what they reveal. You won't find detailed sourcing reports for their meat suppliers. They don't disclose how many of their suppliers are meeting full, responsibly raised standards at any given time. And they rarely explain what happens when supply runs low. Compare that to newer chains like Sweetgreen or Dig, which often provide direct sourcing info, and it's clear, Chipotle still controls the narrative tightly. Customers are shown the end result, a sizzling grill, a clean counter, a colorful bowl, but the system behind it? That's where the truth gets murky. What smart customers are doing instead. No one's saying you have to swear off Chipotle forever, but if you care about meat quality, sourcing, and health, here's how to shop the line smarter. Choose sofritas. Their plant-based protein is made from organic tofu and generally avoids the pitfalls of processed meat. Double-check protein portions. If you're combining meats, like steak and carnitas, your sodium and fat levels can skyrocket fast. Skip the cheese and sour cream. Most of it comes from cows raised on GMO feed and conventional dairies. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask the staff where the meat came from or how it's cooked. If they don't know, consider it a red flag. Limit how often you eat it. Chipotle is better than most fast food, but it's still built for scale, not purity. Eating it occasionally? Fine. Eating it like it's a clean meal prep service? Misguided. Bottom line, Chipotle sells a lifestyle. It sells a mission. It sells the idea that you're eating better just by choosing them over a burger joint. But when it comes to their meat, that story is far more complicated. From industrial central kitchens to imported beef, vague standards, artificial flavors, and highly processed marinades, the truth is this: Chipotle's meat is fast food, just better marketed. Smart eaters know that behind every sizzling steak is a system built for scale, not integrity, and that food with integrity might be a lot more processed than the burrito bowl in your hand wants you to believe.